Kati Kleber here, and we're going to talk tips for studying in nursing school. So I have got 5 tips here that we're going to discuss. All right, tip number 1. It's really important to recognize and accept that you're not going to learn everything in class, okay? I used to think it was, the name of the game was go to class, and then you're going to be taught all the things you need to be taught, and then you go home and reinforce. Not really how it works. You go to class, they tell you a little bit about what you need to know, and then really a lot of the work is done at home. And you have to do that self-exploration of what made sense and what didn't. So that brings me to tip number 2. When you're studying, prioritize your time accordingly, okay? So you think back, maybe you had your 2-hour lecture, right? And the teacher went through a bunch of stuff. Think back and look at your notes that you hopefully took in class to the things that really didn't make sense. Things that you kind of mentally checked out on and were like, makes no sense to me. I don't understand what they're saying. Really important to sneak back to that and expand on that and ensure you know what the heck they were saying. An example would be maybe you're going through your cardiac class and they start talking about polarization, repolarization, depolarization, and you're like, I don't understand this. Make a little note in class, like a little asterisk, or use a certain color highlighter for you to circle back. And then when you get home and you're getting ready to sit down and study, prioritize your time to first focus on those things. Okay? Those, I don't understand this, I need to go find a video on YouTube, I need to go, maybe I have this set of extra study materials, I'm going to look at whatever resources those have on this topic so that I can ensure I understand it. And then the things that made more sense, you quickly review those, but don't spend near as much time on those. It's a lot easier to want to focus on that kind of stuff that really makes sense because it makes us feel good, and when we have that instant sense of mastery, it's really satisfying. But don't spend an hour going over that kind of stuff. It's more challenging, it's more frustrating going over things that are more complex, but it's going to be very helpful later on during tests and whatnot. Please make sure you're prioritizing your time appropriately. It is a lot better to do 20 minutes really understanding something that made like no sense earlier and watching a video that really breaks it out and making a couple notes than staring at a textbook for an hour or 2 reinforcing things you already know. Make sure that you're prioritizing your time. Next, comprehension is much better than completion, okay? Don't strive to get through the reading assignment and hey, we got all these like pages we need to read and that's all you care about. Care more about understanding what you're reading, okay? Whenever I got assignments and said, okay, they'd say, we've got a test on Friday, it's over these pages. My brain was like, all right, I just got to read those pages and I'll be good, right? So it's going to take me a long time to read them, but as long as I read them, like, I should be fine. No. These concepts like respiration and ventilation and atrial depolarization is confusing. You can't just read a sentence about it and understand it. Crazy challenging and tough to understand. So don't think that the only thing you have to do is read the material or do the little questionnaire that they have or something like that. Really make sure that your prioritization is not just on checking through the boxes, getting through the list of 400 pages, is about understanding those concepts. So when you look at those 400 pages that you're going to be tested on, look at the concepts, the headers, the big picture stuff, because that's going to be how, like, what's fleshed out, and maybe watching a video on it will help you understand it more than the actual, like, 6-page textbook pages on it. So really important, you want to prioritize comprehending something, not just completing a reading assignment. Next, seek to understand, not memorize. I also made this mistake. It is a lot easier to like just memorize like little facts about things, and while memorization does have its place, especially in like pharmacology and these things that are very straightforward, there's a lot where memorization is not going to cut it. You truly need to comprehend and really need to understand how something works. So heart failure, you can read some sentences about it and memorize it. But if you just memorize it and don't really understand what those sentences are saying, when you get to that test and they give you questions that are not word for word what you've memorized, you're not going to be able to field and troubleshoot what they're saying. So again, focusing on really understanding and not fixating on like memorizing sentences and whatnot. That you won't be understanding the things that you need to understand, and this is going to be incredibly helpful when we get down the line to the NCLEX, because that memorization is going to be long gone that you have done 3-4 semesters before the NCLEX. You're not going to remember that. You just simply aren't. But if you, instead of memorizing sentences on heart failure, watched a video on it, read the text or skimmed the text and highlighted important things, and then tried to explain heart failure to someone else, or even just pushed record on your phone and tried to record it and explain it to yourself, that is going to provide much more comprehension and understanding than simple memorization. My last tip is to get a comprehensive study tool to supplement your nursing education resources. So there are a few out there. My favorite is from nursing.com, but it's wonderful because they are focused on, them and others are very focused on, let's cut the fat, trim all that fat out. Here's what you need to know. This is the difficult concept, the little linchpin, the piece of information that can make this all click, so that we're not information overloading. I felt like the big challenge in nursing school was, hey, here's a 400-page reading assignment test on Friday. And when I've never seen that material before, I don't know how to focus my efforts. I don't know how to pick what's the most important thing out. But a supplemental tool that says, hey, here's the big thing you need to know about heart failure. Yes, you could read those 4 pages, but here's the kicker. Make sure you understand this, and then memorize this. And then putting those two together will help you really understand this concept fully. So, highly recommend getting something to supplement. There's also a lot of free videos on YouTube that you can check out when you are finding like a concept is not making sense. And I will put links to some different resources in the description of this video. So thank you guys so much, and stay fresh.